the purpose of the primary debates is very different than the purpose of the general election debates. The purpose of all the primary debates was they really got started in 2008. There were 40 of them in 2008. Remember, there were 2 non-incumbents running. This time there have been 18 thus far, and there's still probably another 18 more to go for the Republicans. We'll see what happens. There could be no more. Who knows? But the point of the primary debates is to choose the field, is to cut the field, to wean the field, and not to weed, not wean, weed the field. And God knows they've done that in 2011-12. Just the obvious. Look at when those debates began on the Republican side. Herman Cain was less than a blip. The front runner was Mitt Romney, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Michelle Bachmann was in the top tier. Then suddenly comes Rick Perry. He's leading when he just announces. And suddenly what happens after a few debates? Well, Rick Perry goes from double digits to no digits. Michelle Bachmann goes from double digits to no digits. Herman Cain went from no digits to double digits. And then he had another problem, but not related to the debates. You saw what happened with the reason Newt Gingrich is leading the field more or less right now is solely because of the debates. His whole strategy was a debate strategy. And nobody picked up on that until it was, quote, too late, end quote. And because he had no money to run, he didn't do any retail politicking because he couldn't afford it, didn't buy any advertising, but he knew one thing he has a lot of is self-confidence. And I think that's a neutral, well-established fact. And he knew he was a good debater. So he knew there were going to be a lot of them, so he worked his whole strategy toward those debates, and it's paid off handsomely. And without those debates, can you imagine? I can't, so I'll just speak for myself. I couldn't imagine this field where it is now with the 4 they have left if there hadn't been for those debates. The debates did the weeding, and there's still one more debate to go just in Florida, and who knows what's going to happen after that. That is the point of those debates. Now, the point of the presidential debates. Now, everybody has their own view of that. So when you ask, eventually I'm going to get to your question, Ray. I promise. What I have in mind for those debates is for the primary debates. That's what I had in mind, and that's what and everybody had in mind, and that's what's happened. The presidential debates, the general election debates, have a different purpose. Their purpose is, keep in mind, they come in late September, early October. I checked on this when I was writing this book. About 90% of the people, the voters, by the time you get to those debates, around 90% or more of the folks have already made up their minds for whom they're going to vote or are leaning very strongly one way or another. So those general election debates aren't about what people really believe about lock boxes for Social Security and what we should do about Iran or whatever it is, whatever the issue. It's not about issues then. It's about taking the measure of the individuals. And both individuals, or all 3 in the case when we had Perot in addition to George H.W. Bush and Bill Clinton, it is, can you imagine this person sitting behind a desk in the Oval Office, making a decision about sending Americans into harm's way, dealing with another 9/11, dealing with another Katrina, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. It's about, and you want to take the measure of the person you're not supporting as much as the person you are supporting, because that person may end up being the president of your United States as much as the person you're supporting. That's why they're so important, and that's why they're so different. And that's why they are so critical to the final outcome, even though sometimes people say, oh, well, they don't answer the question, or, oh, my God, it isn't this and this and this and this. The fact of the matter is, if they're talking, what's your favorite color? You learn something about somebody as an individual, and that's what it's all about.